Good morning, guys. I would like to talk to you now about something which I know a lot of people don't really feel that confident about or don't really find that sexy, and that's plants. But rather than have a situation where you are learning all the individual topics of plants, which give you a snapshot of what they do or how they do it, I'd like to give you a really good overall context of plants so you can perhaps be able to work out what they do and how they do them because you know stuff about them. And so the first thing that I want to talk to you about is the fact that there's a bit of a story involved here. And about 5.5 billion years ago, our sun started shining. There it is. And about 4.5 billion years ago, the Earth formed. And the Earth was just nothing. It was iron and rock. It had a very inhospitable environment, and then water condensed, steam going into liquid, and the seas formed. And then life slowly started forming, and over billions of years, life formed. Now, plants were amazing because they did this process called photosynthesis. And I want you just to realize what photosynthesis is, but also how amazing it is. Because if you think about what you ate yesterday, every single thing you ate was based upon a plant taking the energy from the sun, turning it into sugar, and then that sugar was used by both the plant to stay alive, but then ultimately by any animal or organism to stay alive in order to be eaten by you. So even if you had a double steak sandwich with an egg on top, every single one of those things, the energy and the stuff that you ate came from the sun. So there's a direct link between you and the sun and the energy of the sun. But you do not go outside and sunbathe and get the energy you need for your body to work. So what is the link? And the missing link is plants. Plants are able, get this, they are able to take the energy from the sun and then, with nothing more than water and carbon dioxide, they are able to make sugar. Imagine me in your kitchen at home giving you a beaker of water and saying, there's a colourless, odourless gas out there in the air. I'd like you, please, to make an apple. It's just crazy. But they evolved to do it. And they needed to do it because that's where they get their food from. There's often a presumption, we think that photosynthesis, the true presumption about plants is that photosynthesis is in some way to make sugar for other things. And the other is that they don't do respiration because they do photosynthesis. Remember Mrs. Graham, every living organism does respiration. And so the amazing things about plants is that in photosynthesis they found a way to take the sun's energy, which is nuclear energy from fusion, and convert it into chemical energy. And that is the chemical energy stored in glucose bonds. C6, which is 6 carbons joined together, H12, which is hydrogens formed, bound to carbons, O6, oxygens bound to carbons and to hydrogens. In those bonds, like tiny little springs, is the energy that when we digest, which we've been doing lately, your enzymes are able to break everything up, get the glucose, store the glucose, take it to cells, and then convert that glucose back from whence it came into carbon dioxide and water with the release of energy. So plants make bonds that store energy, and we, when we do respiration, break bonds which release energy. And we put this energy to good use to do all of the things that our lives need in energy. Plants are amazing. Plants are magicians. And now, knowing what you know about the fact that they did this remarkable thing of being able to take the energy from the sun and convert it to a form that we could use in our muscles, I'd like you to think, whenever you're on the bus, in the car, and you see a tree, a plant, and of course there's millions around, I want you to think about if that is if that's what they do, if their job is to take carbon dioxide and water, combine it with the energy from the sun, think about their structure. Because do you know what? If you really think about their structure, you'd actually be quite surprised about how obvious much of it is. So, if you take a leaf, for example, carbon dioxide and water and sunlight to get their food. Well, there's a leaf. It comes off the stem in order to go into space so it can catch sunlight. Look at its shape. It's got a big surface area, like a big baseball mitt, to catch the sun. You wouldn't expect it to be really long and thin. Look at it. It's got lots of veins. Why? Well, carbon dioxide and water. It needs water. Where does it get the water from? Gets it from the ground. Oh, hang on. Getting water from photosynthesis from the ground? Well, it better have roots then. Well, hang on. What's in between the stem and the roots? Sorry, the leaves and the roots. It's the stem. Well, hang on. If it's going to catch sunlight, it's got to get up in the air. You can't have leaves, or it's not great to have leaves if you're competing with other plants just on the ground, because you could be overshadowed. So let's have a stem to raise them up. But if you're going to have a stem, you're going to need a transport system to get the water for photosynthesis to the leaf. And then we think about, how does it do that? And so suddenly, things like roots and stems and leaves, when you think about what they need to do, they become a lot less scary. Because do you know what? If I asked you to design a machine that did what a plant did, with water, carbon dioxide and sunlight as the raw materials, then you probably would come up with a machine that was not the same exact shape, but you'd probably have the same type of structure. Something getting water from the bottom, something growing up towards the sun to escape competition, big surface area, place underneath the leaves to absorb the carbon dioxide. Plants are a product of what they do. And when you think about what they do, you can really work out how they do it. And I want you to think, guys. Think about that. But also, you know what, opening it up, think about all of these things in biology. Think about us. Think about what we do. And if you work out what we do, then you can work out why we are the way we are. And many of the questions about biology can be answered by you yourself, by understanding function. Plants, photosynthesizers. It's absolutely incredible. They are magicians.